Yo, this can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and mommy sorry. This labor bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economies not hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. Hey, chief, can he get liar? He really a proper plain labor turn politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. On SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their other show. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their other show. They got to go. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go, 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 oh. 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 For the people.
Good evening. I am your host, Azard Gumbs, Deputy People's Action Movement and PAM's candidate for constituency number 4. This evening, I am joined by Kyle Flanders, and tonight's topic, power, privilege, and the SSZ. Good evening, St. Kitts and Nevis. And again, welcome to Unfiltered, where we separate truth from spin, accountability from arrogance, and leadership from lip service. Tonight, we take a hard look at the trio that defines this government's credibility crisis. The Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, the Minister of Agriculture, Samal Duggins, and the Attorney General. These three men whose words promised reform, but whose action has given nothing but decay. So let's start at the top. Dr. Drew came to power on the pledge of good governance and transparency. 3 years later, the country is drowning in silence, secrecy, and scandal. From the Special Sustainability Zone Act, that hands power to private investors and developers, to the growing frustration across communities forgotten by this administration. The people are still waiting for the honesty and accountability they were promised. And then there's the man who calls agriculture a success story, while farmers can't find fertilizers, while the ministry's permanent secretary is alleged to have been quietly replaced without explanation. And while funds are poured into photo ops instead of production. Duggins talks about feeding the nation, but can't even feed the truth to the people he serves. And finally, the Attorney General, legal officer of the state, one who should embody restraint, judgment, and respect for the rule of law. Lately, there has been what seems to be a recording involving the Attorney General unleashing expletives. That's not passion. That's power out of control. And when the nation's chief attorney behaves that way, it tells you everything about the culture of this government. Undisciplined, unaccountable, and unfit to lead by example. So tonight, on Unfiltered, we are asking the questions they won't answer about leadership, about ethics, moral compass of those entrusted to govern us. Because silence cannot sanitize conduct, and public office is not a playground for personal ego. This is Unfiltered, where the truth still matters, even when it makes those in power uncomfortable. So let's start with the silence at the top. Dr. Terence calls the SSZ a bold step towards progress. But when a law gives one man power to sign millions or even billion-dollar deals, notwithstanding any other law, that's not progress. That's concentration of power. The SSZ was sold as a blueprint for sustainable growth. But beneath the green branding lies a quiet shift in how decisions are made, away from Parliament, away from the people, and straight into the Prime Minister's office. According to Section 4.1(d), this allows the Prime Minister to enter development agreements before Parliament even sees them. Oversight becomes an afterthought. Transparency turns into theater. And while the Prime Minister speaks about sustainability, the people see secrecy. They see no published investors, no independent environmental review, no real public consultation. Everything from who gets the land and who gets concessions depends on one man's decision. The SSZ Act could have been a tool of national growth. Instead, it is shaping up to be a blueprint for unchecked power, an engine for corruption. And the silence of the Prime Minister speaks louder than any speech he's given. And that is where I want to start off with Kyle, having said that in the first giving the overview of our first segment. It is the sustainable, the SSZ. And we realize that this Prime Minister and his cabinet, they rushed the legislation through Parliament. And having rushed the legislation through Parliament, they passed it as law. And having passed it as law, then was when, after the people made noise about it, because it was an uproar, it's still an uproar in our federation. In fact, we have a town hall, the People's Action Movement. There's a town hall this Thursday, the 13th, at OJ's 6:30 p.m. to speak on the SSZ. We're saying that it is too bad to amend, it must be appealed. And this administration continues to take the people for granted. Imagine a bill of that magnitude. We have persons talking about the bill being a step forward for progress. Persons saying that we need more persons in our country. Ministers, leaders are saying we need more people in our country. But imagine such what they call a bold move being done in secrecy, being rushed in Parliament. How do you feel about that?
All right. Before I jump into that, I just want to say thank you for having me tonight. And I must just say that shows like this, Unfiltered, are shows that we need in St. Kitts. Realize that we don't really have journalists that go after the stories. They're legit reporters. They hear things, they report it. So that's why we need independent media like yourself and this platform so that we can bring the truth and we can hold these people. As it relates to the SSC, now, I'm no lawyer, right? But I read it. And in my own interpretation of the SSC, I'm just not liking the wording of that thing. Because you're hearing, and how can it differ from those kind of things? You could explain better as a lawyer. But what I don't understand about this government is they throw out words like sustainability. They need a meaning. When we're speaking about sustainability, we're talking about doing enough, having enough now for people who are around now and for future generations. Now, if you are going to be selling our lands, if our lands are at stake, how generations have peace in Iraq? How is that sustainable? You're a tiny federation. And if you're chopping off, how is that sustainable?
And even under the SSZ, that legislation, it does not cap how much land. There's no real oversight. In fact, as I indicated at the town hall, the language of the SSZ, they may have an oversight committee. Not speaking about the composition of that oversight committee. And the language of the legislation gives the Prime power.
Too much power. Even over, based on how I read it, I feel they had power over Nevis also, because they may include Nevis Island administration. May.
And it says that he would have to consult with the Nevis Island administration. And so the Prime Minister, when asked questions about destiny, because destiny is being circulated in the media, up to a very recent time, sometime I think last week, indicated, well, it hasn't reached its death yet. So,
madness.
But the legislation, how it is worded, it makes it seem as though the Prime Minister is the one that is engaging the NIA, not the You understand? So if there is a project that is in circulation, that is being spoken of, and it has not reached his desk yet, well, there is something different between the wording of the law and the actual practice of it.
You know, we need in St. Kitts, we need somebody to start doing polls locally, because I feel if you do a poll on this, the disapproval rating for this SSC will be very high. You see the persons besides the sycophants who are labor, who just don't care about what happening in St. Kitts. There's politics, party above themselves. Besides those, majority, the appetite is not there for this SSZ. Because the thing is, right, we have seen to our country. One thing that disappointed me with the town hall, when I think MacArthur, his name, Dr. the fellow kid, yes, It outlines so many failures from Whitegate to La Valley to others, to what happened with Christoph having the debacle. And he showed that the SSDs haven't really done what they said they would do in St. Kitts. And then the Prime Minister, politician, with the retards. What about the prison project? So this man outlined 1, 2, 3, and they bring back this one thing to you say why.
And I disagree with politicians because I see these Labour politicians, they're likening the SSZ to other developments.
Yeah.
When the SSZ, if it was similar to other developments, it would not have been created in the first place.
Yeah, it would have needed the whole kind of thing.
And the SSZ developers greater power than even those in the past projects.
Yeah.
So they have the ability, once it is in the contract, the development contract, and agreed by the Prime Minister who signs on to them, that they could have special zones. Yeah. And so the rules in all rules in an authorized SSZ.
You know what is really, really frightening about this thing? Is that I just do not trust Drew to make the right decision for St. Kitts. Because his track record have shown that he has a habit of not doing proper due diligence and making rash decisions. Not only the housing and Tabasco and other things, but I do not trust him to make the decisions best for St. Kitts. I don't think he knows what he's dealing with. That's what people always ask, when they're going to negotiate, what do you think they're saying? I do not believe because even the thing with Fort Thomas Hotel, like the whole thing with the whole, I guess I don't want Indian looking inspired kind of architecture and whatnot. Like even those decisions that they are making, they are not things in the best interest of our country. Why do you think you know more than everybody else? I don't get that because that is not your forte, that is not your background. And I know you don't surround yourself with the right people. We know that because your A team is an F team right now. So I know you don't surround yourself with the best people. So I do not trust him to make the best decisions. And they always compare it to Paul Sopwell Industrial Cell. Well, guess what? It was created for manufacturing. How much manufacturing is doing right now? Manufacturing has gone. And one of the reasons why is because the prior Labour administration, VAT, caused the cost of production in St. Kitts to rise. The man said, no, we're going somewhere else. We're taking over manufacturing elsewhere. That's cheaper. Right? So, again, don't trust them. And with SSD, the history of SSDs have not been that great. Right? And what I don't like is that some of these politicians, they are not of history. Because if you learn from those who came before us, look at Eric Williams, look at Arthur Lewis, what they're saying when it comes to FDI, foreign direct investment, don't give your land. Learn from them over there, and then use what you learn to enhance your local economy. Don't give your land. You see, Simmons and even Bradshaw fought to get the land. I will just give it. I mean, it's a habit because Dougie land for that. Remember all of that. So it was something about this modern Labour from Douglas come to know that they don't like St. Kitts land or something.
I think that they lack the innovation that is necessary.
Innovation in thought.
The vision that is necessary. For them, they are thinking that some foreign developer is going to rescue St. Kitts and Nevis, rather than they, the lead, sitting together and investing in our country, ensuring that our people are empowered. I like to say that there are some leaders who want or whose mission is to empower the people, while there are some leaders who only seek office to empower themselves. I mean, some leaders who seek office to empower the people, but there are some leaders who only seek public office to empower themselves.
And from what I've seen over the last 3 years, I would say that this current Labour is in that camp of themselves. From the get-go, increase your salary. From the get-go, salary gone up. You ain't performed yet, but your salary gone up. So clearly, we know it's about themselves. Let me just say this. I am one. I strongly believe that we have the local know-how, the local knowledge, the local capacity to help develop our country ourselves. I believe in our people. Sorry, but I believe in our people. And I always feel as we should look inward first before we try to go outwards. I genuinely believe that's why I teach the young people. So I'm a teacher because I believe in empowering people. And I do not believe in foreigners no more than us or the white man no more than us. I do not believe in them things. I feel all the money that might be going outside, turn that inwards. Same kids will be a force to be reckoned with. Trust our people. A lot of us went in school. A lot of us in school for a reason. Our literacy rate is 90-something%. We have the ability, we have the capability. I do not understand why they don't think our local people cannot do great things for our country. Just invest in our people. From education, small, come right up, invest in our people. Right? There are many examples where we took a chance on some people, they excel. We're gonna look at agriculture later on, but just to say, like in Nevis, when they invested in certain greenhouse farmers, you see how they prosper. And so this thing about traveling here, traveling there, no. Local, we could try our people first, and let's see how far we can go. It's about time to look inwards. So this SSD, everybody's against it. When majority of us are against it, and that farce of a town hall they had didn't really make anybody feel any better, because that town hall was an absolute joke. And especially when suggestion the age gonna say, well, it's good, but we ain't gonna change it, don't man.
So basically saying come too late. Saying that.
So what is the point of it? The town hall? What was the point of it? Right?
And that when you listen to when you dissect the words and you compare it to the action, they say one thing, but they do one else. This administration fails to match their action to their words.
For sure. And I mean, Tack is where they had the most to say before they got in. They had the most to say. Look at all the treat pap. They had the most, 1,005 here, man, 1,005. They came in, cut that, 250. Right? They had the most to say. Again, it comes back to and moral suasion. And I'm telling you, the Prime Minister doesn't have that moral thought, that ability to actually convince anybody that this thing is good for our country. Because we have seen the history of it. We have seen it. Prior administration, the Prime administration, January, always seeing things step miles ahead. But not something that would put our country at risk. That would put our land at risk. That's not the point of this thing. If it's not for, why do it? I remember talking about the Tabasco project again and said the local farmers are not going to benefit. What is the point of doing it? The SSZ, I don't see us benefiting that much. What is the point of doing it? Take all the resources, turn it inwards so that our people can empower ourselves and become more self-sustained, efficient at what we're doing.
And Kyle, when we look at it, we have an administration that is bankrupt when it comes to ideas. They don't have the idea. The food that is necessary for thought.
That's true.
So what they do, again, this SSZ shows me the foreign hero to come and rescue them out of the trap that they have laid, not only for themselves, but for us.
Just definitely we're gonna lose it. Because I gotta say that, because if we had to compare scorecards, when you look at the Simmons-led People's Action Movement administration, the foresight, the vision, the earth-changing projects that actually put a mark on saying that people are still building on small mind. It is a small thinking. We're talking advanced thinking. And it was always with the people. Administration. Soon as they got in, again, big ideas. Second cruise pay, old road thing. The bus terminals, we paying our government bills and like ideas.
The program. Looking at the repayment or the payment to sugar workers.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at so many things. You're always people focused. You're looking at the path. Money in the hands of the people. All of these were people focused initiative. And here comes the Labour administration. They take away,
Just
take it away,
take it.
and increase the salary, increase the hardship. So while we, the average men and women, suffer more on the labor, they increase the perks. They're traveling constantly, racking up that per diem, racking up that flyer miles. So that I'm sure many of them are frequent flyers.
Right.
Hardly do we have the full cabinet on island any given week.
And you see again, major difference. Because the leaders in the unity government made it a mandate. X amount of people ministers must be on island at all times. There must be a certain number just in case we need to do something in an emergency. There must, but one time, man, like who in the country? Like who really won in the country? The difference in vision and leadership is just a gulf, right? This is so different.
Yes. And I also want persons to understand and remember that the People's Action Movement on Thursday, the 13th, we're having a town hall meeting where a group of us, lawyers, will be presenting on the SSZ. We're saying that it is too bad to amend. It must be repealed. And so at 6:30 at the OJ's complex, the OOJJ's complex, commercial complex in Camps, we're inviting you out for a fruitful discussion. We have invited so many stakeholders and we welcome your involvement. We are an administration or party, soon to be the administration that leads St. Kitts and Nevis. And we are always about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have heard the cries. You go on every radio program, persons are talking about town halls, persons are speaking out against the SSZ. And so we are here to speak on your behalf. Segment, the next person, because I like to call them, they're like three blind mice. You have the Prime Minister, you have Duggins, and you have the Attorney General. And I don't know, on different occasions, they tend to not only embarrass themselves, but embarrass the country. And so we have now Samal Duggins. He appeared in the program, Banky's program recently, the hot topics.
No, it was the agriculture one. The agriculture program. Yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, agriculture.
They call it the hot topics.
Talking agriculture.
Yeah.
Choosing one of the hot topics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talking agriculture.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. And so he appeared Friday. And before that, he was present at the national budget town hall. And the minister, I do, because he's saying one thing, but when you check what he's saying with the facts, they don't match up. You have to sift out what he's saying to realize that they are inconsistent with what is happening.
Yeah, man.
He talk about the greenhouses at the town hall and saying things to me. It's based on what I summarize. Things are going okay. And then Troy Flanders, the very next day, goes to the sites where these greenhouses are to be kept. And the grass high, taller than me and taller than you and I, taller than us the grass is. So I want to know what work I've been doing there. And then Kyle, I know you engaged him last evening.
Yes, I did.
Well, yesterday, on Friday, sorry. You engaged him on Friday. And so could you, to those persons listening, some of the misconceptions that he was spewing and how you had to, clarify it.
So here's the thing, right? When you dealing with Samal, you often leave the encounter with a headache. Because sometimes it feels as you're talking to somebody who is willfully ignorant. Do not know when to turn off the politics and just listen to persons who might understand certain things.
I know, and not to cut you off, you raised some questions instead of, he answering, just leaving it and answering, he's saying, well, you know who those persons who asking the questions,
Yes.
and you know the agenda.
Yes.
I mean, answer the question, Minister.
Yeah.
Answer the question.
That's something I need to, yeah, because look here. They always try to play it off as politics when they don't want to answer the real questions. No, people know before. I grew up in agriculture. I taught it for almost 15 years. I went and advanced my education in agriculture up to the master's level. So this ain't not politics. This is what I am about. This is my passion. It wasn't by accident I went to do it. It's because I like it. And so when I see going down the hill, I must talk about it. But the problem is when persons talking to Samal, cover defense, right? I teach my students this subject called OB. We spoke about some cognitive biases. And Samal is the perfect example of self-serving bias. Nothing is ever his fault. when things going downhill, it's never his fault. When something succeeded, yeah man, that's me. Right? And so a lot of it was exhibited last night. I am all for the Greenhouse Village, right? Because it was actually ideated under the Unity administration, right? That was the idea came from that. And so, like I said, they got no plans. When they came in, they started and they said, okay, let's run with it. Now, the greenhouse has the ability to increase production so much. So why are we still 2 years on behind still? Not one farm produce have been done in greenhouse from the greenhouse village. Not one. Can't even call it a village. You got nothing built yet. So he's saying, right? He's saying that the reason why, again, blaming other people, not himself, no accountability. Accountability. He's saying that the reason why the greenhouse village is because they contracted out the procurement to one party, and that party was supposed to contract out the construction to a next party.
When I heard that explanation, Kyle, I said to myself, why are so many subcontractors necessary to build these greenhouses? If it is that has the contract, then wouldn't you give the contract? Because I expect it to be you have bid for that contract and rewarded the person who you feel could get the job done best.
Exactly.
Not who's trying to subcontract.
How does that make sense though? You're giving somebody the chance not to complete the job. Like, how does that make sense? You have to see to the end. And then you can blame all you want. The onus is on you as the Minister of Agriculture to ensure that that project reaches its completion. That is your job. So to come down and start with blaming somebody else, you make it look small, and make it look weak, and look like you can't handle nothing. Failure after failure. So you could bang on more talking about somebody else. The buck stops with you. You are the Minister of Agriculture, so however you spin it, we could talk about how that contract was awarded because that makes no sense. That might be a little friendly something.
That's the way in which he answered that question made me wonder if that couple awarded. Those are the facts that came to my mind because it made no sense to me. And then you don't see anything happening.
Nothing's happening.
Nothing is happening.
And he's saying, wait until we reach critical mass to, get one out of the way we start this thing going. Food security is very important. And what really annoys me is the fact that you could tell they don't plan. These people don't plan nothing. He is not a planner. He's a talker and that's it. Just talk. When you hear someone talking, okay, you could tell he's been in a room with other agricultural experts and he heard them say something, so he just regurgitate. You could tell he has no depth in it. There's no depth there. You just regurgitating what you hear people say. Had you done your due diligence and plan, you'll know Nevis has experts in greenhouse technology. Experts.
But is he not the federal minister of agriculture?
Exactly.
Imagine those farmers had to say, well, minister, we got the expert over here.
Exactly.
But you have been federal minister for what, 3 years now? I don't know that.
That's
it took you to come on a show to learn that there are persons who could do the technology or could do the work in aliens?
So either way you twist it, if that he's ignorant to that fact, it still look bad. And if it is that he knew, but he want to give somebody, the job to, make a little something, it still look bad, right? Because that shows that you are not a student of what you need to know. You did not go and look for the information that you really need. So for the greenhouse village, guess who he blames? Some contractor. The 25 by 25 is a failure. But guess what? He blames somebody else. And he had the audacity to the fact that he blamed tourism. He said tourism is booming so much that the import bill keep rising. But guess what? I numbers because I don't like disinformation. I don't like misinformation. So I went and looked at the numbers from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And there was a contraction in tourism spending from 2023 to 2024. So you can't blame tourism for that. A majority of the tourism visitors is cruise. And we know that cruise passengers spend an average of, I think a report came out that average of 100 US. So it's 100 US for every single thing, taxi, food, everything. So it can't be that. So that tourism thing makes no sense. Samal, you failed the 25 by 25 because you lacked planning and you had the wrong people in place. I told you so on my way out. I said, agriculture will never reach anywhere if you have this pace and this leadership in place. It would never reach anywhere. So said, so done. Right? So blame tourism, blame the contractor. When it comes on sports, he blamed God and the rain when the track couldn't finish. So up to now, Samal ain't done nothing. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his poor planning. It wasn't his lack of leadership. It wasn't his failure for diligence. It's somebody else. Self-serving bias.
And this administration continues to show that they are unfit to govern. We have Prime Minister Terence Drew, unfit to lead the country, unfit for the position he has. He has exercised bad judgment after bad judgment. Under his leadership, the Labour Party has become the most unpopular that it has ever been.
Very fast.
In such a short time. The country is feeling economic strain. We are in a worse position economically than we were during the days of COVID. People had more spending power during COVID than they do now, thanks to Labour and their failed policies and unfulfilled promises. They are not fit to lead the people of Saviors and Leaders. And then here comes Samal Duggins. He talks about feeding the nation, but he can't even feed the people with the truth. There's still a cloud hanging over his head as it relates to the status of the permanent secretary. Who is the permanent secretary of agriculture? There are persons who are making claims that the former PS has been removed and that there's a new PS. No word from the ministry. Samal has not given any word when the inquiring minds wanted to know.
Speaking of that, I'm just going to say this again. Samal, he is a perfect example of where, what they call it now, commitment escalation. That's the next cognitive bias right there. You know something wrong, but instead of correcting it, you pour on more resources. You keep at it. You try on more things. Samal knew. I don't know if it's true about the permanent secretary, but I'm going to go on with the subject. It's true. Samal knew that that permanent secretary was destroying agriculture. He knew from day one. He knew the man wasn't qualified for the job. He knew that from day one. For whatever reason, Samal stuck with that person at the helm. Everybody else be damned about it. People just exiting the ministry. People, morale all-time low. The executive officers then can't get work done. They're beefing with the PS. Everybody in the PS beefing. Farmers in the PS beefing. The ministry was going nowhere. They actually had a reset in the ministry. So if this is a new reset, they had one before. Because when they realized that the PS couldn't do his job, as opposed to replace him, they say, you know what, they're bringing an old school man who was a former PS. Let him run the show. Let him be the de facto permanent secretary. and the de facto director of agriculture. So they brought him in. The thing is, if this is true, it is so late because in my experience, HR knew how bad the PS was. Even the office of the ombudsman knew because reports were made against him. The Prime Minister knew about how bad the PS was. But if for whatever reason they chose to stay the course, stubbornness, keep pouring on, knowing that things going south and fast. Now, what I asked someone yesterday during his presentation, by what metrics do you measure the success of agriculture? I asked him. Is it that the import bill is coming down? Is it that youth involvement is growing? Is it that it's contributing more to the GDP? Is it that farmers are making more money? What exactly are your metrics to measure your success in agriculture? He gave some hat here, nothing up to now.
Word salad.
As usual, because he know for a fact. You can, oh yeah, he mentioned production. He said production is up. But somehow, production without consumption equal wastage. You produce it, but nobody consumes. Because it's not going to the market. It's not penetrating the market. What do you think will happen? And that's why you had videos circulating of tomato being dumped. Farmers telling the peppers being dumped. They talk about planting bananas and whatnot. You had a span of time there where you couldn't get a good banana in Valley Mart or Rams or none so much. You gotta get a good Hana banana. But the local bananas gone from all the system. Where are they? So you see, I mean, these people like they embrace mediocrity, they embrace failure. That's their badge of honor. Because they feel they can talk their way out of it. And so there's such a disconnect between what they say and what's actually happening. I mean, I'm very disappointed in one thing I'm disappointed into. I taught at virtuals for a number of years. And it so happens that when you walk into the Ministry of Agriculture or the Department of Agriculture, you walk into the Ministry of Sports, even small business. Many of those young people in India, I taught them in school. But to have a leader like Samal who can take you nowhere, it actually breaks my heart. Number 4 deserves better than Samal. He is a divisive figure in number 4, and number 4 deserves so much better than Samal.
In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. Albeit being candidate for the People's Action Movement in constituency number 4, Samal has brought a wave of division in our constituency. Right now, it has been time immemorial. Since I know myself and since I'm a child, living in constituency number 4, we know about the Guy Fest.
Oh, yes,
it's always been our community festival.
Mm-hmm.
Became the minister, and no sooner than he became the minister, you see another festival coming around. And persons are saying that it seemed to be that maybe he couldn't work with one set of people, so he went to work with somebody else.
Wow. So you can't lead them. You can't deal with people.
Perhaps he did not receive or get his will. And so Samal Duggins is I don't know what he does. I cannot tell you what he does other than travel. I really can't tell you what he does. And we're looking at the third person now this evening. Just last week I see these things circulating in social media and on different platforms. We are the chief legal officer of the state. In this recording, you're hearing expletives. And I had to say that I am so disappointed. I actually had to call the gentleman who was on the other line with the expletives, and to investigate what was going on. And it seemed, based on the conversation that I had with that individual, that he was the receiver of the call. Imagine receiving a call and it's laced with expletives. And so because of that, I thought to myself, because there's a balance, and there are persons who are saying, well, he was right, we are all human. But then I look at the situation and I say, too much To whom much is given, much is expected. And I had to, all morning, I'm thinking about how I'm getting my thoughts together, because I think that when one desires public office, they should meet the standard required of a public official. Not that the standard reduces to match the individual, but the individual must rise to meet the standard. And I had to write a commentary, and I want to just briefly read it. And it says, restraint is the true test of leadership. You cannot wear the crown by day and discard its weight by night. Public life is not something one switches on and off. Those who carry the public office must carry the weight of public trust in every setting, before the public, behind closed doors, and in every private exchange. With that trust comes a constant duty to act with discipline, composure, and respect for the office one holds. Every public official will face moments of anger, frustration, and personal attack. But leadership demands more than emotion. It demands restraint. The true measure of character is not how loudly one defends themselves, but how calmly one responds when tested. Authority without self-control quickly becomes arrogance, and arrogance in office corrodes public confidence. When power meets emotion, the choice must always be restraint. The public does not expect leaders to be flawless, but it does expect them to be measured. Words spoken in anger may fade, but their impact on credibility and trust endures long after. The real test of leadership is not in comfort, but in confrontation. Restraint is not weakness, it is strength under control, discipline under pressure, and integrity under fire. We must be reminded through the actions of others that those who accept the honor of public service also accept the burden of example. For one cannot wear the crown by day and discard its weight by night. And I actually penned that this morning, having thought about everything. And I didn't want to just, of course it arose out of that situation. Mm-hmm. But I didn't just want to make a specific attack. I wanted to make a generalized comment. Because based on some of the comments, of course, there are persons who understand the role of public office. And the people who are expected to serve must serve with dignity and respect. And so when, of course, persons are humans and we all falter, we all fall short, but we must not accept, when we are not leading by example, or when leaders are not leading by example. Public office demands that restraint is necessary. And so one must consider, when you have taken the oath to serve, it is a very important oath. Even as attorneys like myself, we take oath to be respectful, oath to serve to be a respectful judicial officer of the court. And so you must carry out your function with the utmost integrity. And so when I think about persons putting themselves in public office, and I think about myself as well seeking public office, I say to myself, that the crown one wears in public office by day, you can't just discard its weight by night. And it is a reminder to us all that public office comes with great responsibility. There are often times that you get frustrated, and oftentimes I have to say to myself that I not only represent myself in situations, but I represent the people I wish to serve, I represent my party, and by extension, through my desire to serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and as a petition, the country. And so I want to remind persons that we must always seek the utmost respect for positions in public office, because what I've seen is that we tolerate certain behaviors and say, well, that's what politicians do. Politicians corrupt. Politicians this. But we don't try to seek and elect persons who are fit for office. And so we must ensure that we keep those persons who seek public office and receive of public office accountable. I say this: he who accepts the privileges and honor of public office must also accept the burdens of it. You can't get the privileges and accept the privileges of the office, but run away from the burdens. And so, Kyle, I don't know if you want to say anything on the matter.
Yes. Now let me just say, if that's the voice of the AG on that call, because everybody gonna blame AI today. AI this, AI that. If that's his voice, I think he needs to resign, apologize to the nation, and resign. Persons have been fired for less. You cannot talk about human and he's human. Based on your position alone, that means that you should have a certain level of level-headedness to you. I mean, I taught for many years. You know how many times students frustrated me? You know how many times parents frustrated me? So I must lace them with bad word. I must lace them with bad word because they frustrated me.
Imagine if they had a recording with you lacing a parent with bad word.
Which I've done. So he needs to apologize to the country and resign because it's a trend.
If you look at it, just the other day he was in Parliament telling persons that he's taking away their phones.
The whole thing and the thing about Lucifer and whatnot. Look, according to Maya Angelou, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
And he has shown us who he is multiple times.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you, Kyle, for accepting the invitation and being here on another Unfiltered. It has been a program as we keep to talk about the real issues as they affect the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to encourage persons to hold strong. The People's Action Movement is here and here to stay. I also want to remind you that our town hall on the SSZ is going to be held on the 13th of November. That is going to be at the OJ's Commercial Complex at 6:30 p.m. We invite you to be in attendance as the party speaks on the SSC, and we're saying that it is too bad to amend, it must be appealed. In addition, I want you to continue to follow and subscribe to the page. It keeps the page active and it keeps you notified. Thank you so much. I am your host, Azard Gumbs.
Lord, best can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack work on the treasury with paper daddy and money sorry. This labor bun shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fed under these enemies of the state. AAG, can he get lawyer? He really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAG join the cult and the greedy. We just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water walk with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. On SKM, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up in smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their honor show. They got to go, 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 oh. 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 For the people